How's your cutting today, boys? So, not that long ago, I tapped a little curb, like just barely tapped it. And that was the result. So, here we are. After replacing everything obvious and going through my car, but I'm still dealing with a bit of camber issue. The front tire is stuck out a little tiny bit on top, and then when you come over here, you actually see that my tire is tucked in more than my fender. So it's in about a ½ inch on this side, and it's out about a ½ inch on this side. So that means I have about 1 inch in difference. For those of you that are new here, this is my 2012 WRX. Pretty problematic. Self-inflicted is some of it for sure. But yeah, so we're gonna go right through this whole thing. So let's go ahead and start taking a few things apart here, and I'll tell you a little about what I got done. Alright guys, when your vehicle all jacked up on stands, be sure to give it a good push and a shake, and make sure nothing comes off. It's just to make sure everything's sat properly on the ground, it's not unweighted on one side, therefore causing it to tip later on while you're doing your work. Now, with it all jacked up, you can see this way better. You can see how much of an angle my tire is on. Compared to this side, it's tucked right in. Let's go ahead, get the tire off, and I'll show you what's up. So as we go under, the obvious things that I replaced, A-arm was buckled. I came over, replaced the tie rod ends, inner and outer, that was buckled. I came up here, and my top hat seemed a little bit off. The measurement from the back right here, the back of my strut to the wall, this side was bigger than the opposite side. So I thought, all right, so the strut alignment is a little bit off here. So I'm thinking it might be the strut, but just in case I hauled it off, the top hat didn't really feel the best on there. So I went ahead and replaced that. I think the bearing and side was gone. It did fix the camber a little bit, but I'm still having a lot of trouble. Now, in the WRX and STIs, well, I'm not sure, I'm pretty about all Subarus, but I know in these, your top bolt here adjusts some. So it's a little offset, I'll show you that in a minute. Yeah, so that's how you adjust it on these. Now that mine is all the way in, so I can't tuck my tire any more in at the top. I'm like, man, what is going on, right? So I went ahead and I measured up the front left to the rear right and vice versa, and those measurements seem squared. That's how you make sure something is square. I went ahead and measured up my other front subframe as well. All the measurements on that were spot on, so I can't see the front subframe, the chassis, or any of that being the problem. So I'm ready to give up. I'm ready to give this thing to the shop, right? And that's not in me to normally do. So I'm like, man, let's figure this the fuck out. And I just sat here and sat here and sat here. I didn't think I hit the curb that as hard as I did. But I'm pretty sure and then I ended up bending my knuckle. We'll get to that in a minute. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is I take the negative terminal off the battery there. And so that way when you go plug your key in for a long period of time, you just turn the key ahead so you can turn the wheels back and forth. That way you won't drain down your battery. Now, with the wheels all the way turned, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna remove your brake line bolt here and take off number 1 and number 2 bolts. So that's gonna allow us to take a brake caliper off and a rotor off. So let's go ahead and get that done. So I got my caliper off here and my rotor. I am in need of a set of pads by the looks of it because there's a little lip right here. We're gonna leave that for another time. Now with the wheel bearing, what I did was I took a straight edge and put it against here, measured it in a couple different angles, and I went in and measured it into this spot right here, as well as the little lip on the top. that measurement actually came out different. Of all the measurements that I had done during trying to find this issue, that was my problem. I went ahead and picked up a new knuckle for that. I also went ahead and picked up 2 new wheel bearings for the front. I don't know if I damaged mine or not, and because of the rear tire being so sank in, I went ahead and picked up 2 new upper A-arms because the ball joint is gone in one, leading to that issue. And bushing kit, it's a full bushing kit for the car. Most of these will fit the rear, but the only thing I wouldn't have replaced is these toe arms or link arms. So I went ahead and picked up a few of them. Now, so the whole rear end is gonna be brand new. Basically, we're gonna leave that for another time though. Today we're gonna be focused on my knuckle, 1 wheel bearing, and I'm gonna make another video of how to install a wheel bearing on Subaru. All right, so first thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna remove this. Now, what I should have done, and what you guys should do, is pop out the center cap on your wheel, and that way you get the big socket and go in there, and you come out while the car is still on the ground. But there's also another way that you could do this that I'm gonna do. Put the socket onto it, and I'm gonna send it. Let's give it a shot. Oh, like butter. I really suggest investing in one of these guys. If you're a do-it-yourselfer and you do a lot of car parts, you can't ask for no better. So let's go ahead and reinstall that just a tiny little bit, so we're about flush right here kind of. If this swells or damages or anything, when you go to take the nut off, you'll recreate the threads to be able to reuse it. But we don't want to damage the threads, but that's just a last resort kind of thing. So lots of ways you can do this. There is a proper tool that will bolt on here, and that'll kind of just push in the center. You can get a board across and like smack the board with the hammer so you don't damage this or direct impact. I happen to have this nice size punch that I'm just gonna stick in the middle there and give it a good smack, and hopefully that should break it free. Don't forget guys, when you're hammering big heavy stuff, use safety glasses. And that is free. So we're just gonna leave the nut on this for right now. Take dust shield off, grab your 12 mil, and let's go. All right, so with the dust shield gone, we're gonna go ahead and start with the wheel speed sensor. We're gonna go ahead and remove this 12 millimeter back here. Take off this. This looks to be like a 10 millimeter. This sensor has 2 little grooves on top and bottom, just enough so you can get your flat top in. And just give it a little wiggle. These are easy to kind of break guys, so you want to be careful. And out she will come. So now we're going to start from the bottom and work our way up. The reason why I do it this way is when you get at your bottom and you take that off, then you can support it with your jack for when you get everything else undone. Alright, so here we have our pin. What we're going to want to do, this one's pretty easy. And we're just going to bend it this way. Go ahead, nip this with a pair of pliers or a flat top screwdriver and give her a yank and pull her out. Alright, so you can grab your 18 millimeter socket and give her a little zip. We're going to reinstall that a tiny bit over top so we can hit it with a hammer, and we're not going to damage the threads. There it goes. So now we can go ahead, completely remove it and get our jack under. Alright, with the jack up, a little tiny bit of pressure, just enough to take the weight off this. We're going to go ahead and remove these 2 bolts, leave one in there a little bit slack. Then we're going to go ahead and remove our tie rod end. Be sure to thread the nuts on by hand so they're flush with the bolts before you give them a tap with the hammer. Here we have a flat punch, and it's kind of long, a little bit skinnier. Just gonna throw that in. Alright, so with this bolt just laid in here, we're gonna go ahead and remove that. Alright, let's go ahead and tap our knuckle and see if we can't break that one free. If not, we're gonna have to tap the tap. But the right way to do this is to tap the knuckle. Oh. Now what we're gonna do is place that on it a little bit. Just enough for to do our little trick. So with all the bolts out now, everything's removed, we're gonna go ahead, remove our axle nut, grab yourself a little pry bar. We're just gonna pry out the top of this ever so slightly. Alright, so upon further inspection, when you look down, my knuckle, or my ball joint, isn't really straight on with that anymore. So that leads me to believe I damaged my ball joint too. Not surprising for the smack it took. When you look down across the side here, you can see that this one is almost touching. It's like real close to touching. You can see that that back one right here is about 1/4 inch off versus this one right here. So we do know the knuckle is bent. There's a good chance it got a bent ball joint. So now let's go ahead and start assembling all of our new parts. Oh, because that ball joint was bad, I also stopped by and picked up some new ball joints. So I don't need any of the ball joint or the knuckle, anything of that anymore, but what I do need is this cone shaped piece. So as you can tell, the new ball joints don't have that, and these can fit the WRX or the STIs, but the WRX just takes this, and the STI, you have to remove this cone. So what I like to do with these guys is, these can be a little bit hard, so I just like to cut this back, kind of pry it back. There you go. You can see why we did that, just so the teeth can grab a lot better. There we go. And off like that, you can. Alright, so we have all of our parts ready to be installed, but the only thing was the 4 bolts. And let's go ahead and get these removed. A little bit of penetrating fluid. Alright, so grab your 14mm impact. Hey, here's your knuckle. We got some anti-seize. We got some permalock. What we're gonna wanna do, so we're just gonna go around a little bit. Next time I go at this, it'd be nice to get it off. So we get the wheel bearing on now. Let's go ahead and install our new ball joint. Man, I love Subarus. A little bit of thread lock. Alright guys, so your pinch bolt is going to be torqued down to 36.9 foot-pounds of torque. And your 4 bolts to hold your wheel bearing on gets torqued down to 48 foot-pounds. All right, with everything torqued down, let's go ahead, put it back in the car. So before we go and install, we're gonna go ahead and give everything a little wire wheel down here. Go ahead and apply some anti-seize. Take our like conical shaped piece and just give that a little drop in. Go ahead and take our nice new knuckle. Oh, beautiful. And we are going to just lay that in place, kind of shimmering everything in. It helps if you guys got a little, like a tool. Just like that. This will help you align it a little bit. There we go. We can get rid of our jack. Everything will seat in. Take your castle nut and just screw down the bottom a little bit. All right. So let's go ahead, just put the bolts in everything, and then we'll worry about torquing everything down. Alright, so you can kind of see the lump in this side where it parts up, and this is to help when it rotates. What it's going to do is push the top of the knuckle in and out, giving our camber adjustment. Now, because the top one can spin to give you camber, that's the one that gets the washer. Alright, so our bottom ball joints and our tie rod end are going to be torqued down to 28.8 foot-pounds of torque. And our two up here are going to be torqued down to 114.3 foot-pounds of torque. When you go and torque this down, and the hole is not in line for you to put the pin through, but what we're going to do is put it a little bit tighter so we can put that pin through. Here's our pin. Just going to put that through and bend it on the back. What we're gonna do is kind of just snug up this one a little bit, leave this one loose, and I'm just gonna go, before I get a wheel alignment, I'm just gonna go put it up in spot and play with it a little bit till it looks right before I snug these two down. So I'm gonna go ahead and install everything else. First come up is our wheel speed sensor. Go ahead and just give him a little clean. And in like so. Yeah, so I just put a little tiny drop of anti-seize on these guys. Alright, so now it's time for our dust shield. We are just going to do the same, put a little bit of anti-seize. Alright, so let's throw our axle nut back on. Give it a couple ugga-duggas. We're just going to take a wire wheel and chip away some of this stuff here from the rotor. And brush some anti-seize. Throw in our caliper. We're just going to go ahead, secure that back in. So put a little bit of anti-seize there. You're going to want to head, remove the other one and put a little drop of anti-seize on it too. Just good and tight. Throw a little bit of anti-seize on your last 12 mil. Just a little drop. Reinstall our hose. All right, so we are going to snug up the bottom one first. That's it. Put that shit on everything. All right, so when I hold the rotor in flush, perfectly in that bubble. Okay, so let's go ahead and torque these down to 114 points up. I just did 115. All right, let's go ahead, put our wheel on. All right, if you notice, I took my cap out of my center. We're gonna go ahead and torque it while it's on the ground. All right, so let's bring this puppy down to the ground. All right, carry it down. Let's torque this to 162 foot-pounds torque. Go ahead and install our center cap. Go ahead and remove our tire. So all we're gonna do is bend this piece down a little bit so it can't come off. All right, go ahead and put the tire back on. Drop your jack. Torque your wheels down to like 87 or 89, but I just torque them down to 90. All right, so now that we are finished, the tire has a good angle, but it's still like right out flush with the fender, but all the camber issues fixed, versus this side is kind of sank in a tiny bit. But anywho, everything's torqued down. Don't forget to reinstall your battery terminal on your negative side. And this is a great time while you got her in the shop. Check your oil, check your trans fluid, and a few other different things. Yeah, well, that's gonna be it for this video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content.